welcome back to another episode of The Follow-Up. I'm Eden, this is my dad Noah, and every week we sit on my bed and have a conversation about something we want to talk about. So this week we're going to talk about our basketball trip we just went on. So we came back earlier today, and you pulled me out of school earlier on Friday.
We're telling everybody I pulled you out of school early?
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
And we went to Dallas. So over the past 2 or 3 years, I've become a big Oklahoma City Thunder fan. And that's my team for the West. Usually I root for the Philadelphia 76ers. But I've been really rooting for them, the Thunder, a lot more this year because you can actually go back and listen to that podcast, but they're not that good.
The Sixers.
The Sixers podcast.
Right,
the Sixers aren't that good.
Podcast.
Thunder are amazing.
Right.
So I really want to see the Thunder play, and their best player is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I really want to see him play. So you found out they were playing in Dallas on that Friday night. So it was Oklahoma City Dallas, which would be a great game, and it really was. So we went to that game in Dallas, and that was awesome. It was so cool. I loved the environment in there. Every time someone made I think it was a three, they had nicknames for every. I thought it was really cool. They had nicknames for every player. They had different animations that would pop up on the side, on like the boards going all the way around, and it was such a good game. And there was a lot happening. It was back and forth. It was like you bounce the basketball to one side, and then it goes back to the other side.
So it was a 20-point game at the half. Dallas was winning, and then OKC came all the way back, took the lead in the third, and then went back and forth in the fourth. Shai didn't play. He had hurt his wrist the night before against Cleveland, and I was a little bit worried that he wouldn't play. But he didn't play. But Kyrie came back for Dallas, which made
the
a
game
big
so
difference.
much better.
So the reason we took, let's backtrack a little bit. The reason we took the trip to Dallas first is because Dallas and OKC are only 3 hours away, a drive.
Yes.
So if it was helpful that OKC, they didn't have back-to-back games over the weekend, so they're in Dallas, back-to-back home games are in Dallas, and then we could drive to OKC. And that was helpful. And then, so we can get back to everything we did there, and then Saturday,
we drove to Norman, Oklahoma, and that is where University of Oklahoma plays. So we saw a men's basketball game at their arena against South Carolina, and they won. And it was really cool. It was a big arena. Especially, we went to see a Columbia basketball game last week, so I feel like it seemed
even much bigger.
It seemed even more bigger
even though
than it probably was.
It wasn't that crowded.
No, but yeah.
And then we drove to OKC.
Yeah.
It's only about 25 more minutes from Norman to Oklahoma City, and saw the Thunder play there last night, which was Sunday.
Yeah.
And we can get into all those details.
Yeah.
We can get into all those details in a moment. The trip itself was great, aside from the basketball part of it.
Yeah.
But we can talk about the basketball part of it. Spending just a few days together, no one would have known that we were just bickering, 30 seconds before we hit record. But spending all that time together, I even said to you on, I think, Thursday night, I bothered you about something, and I said to you, do you really want to spend 3 days with me? Just me on the road? And it was awesome. We had no travel issues. We laughed a lot. We hung out. We hung out the whole time together. And we've only gone away, just the two of us, just two other times. So it was special just to be able to spend just that time together.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a lot as a family. So, but it was nice just to hang out with you.
Yeah. And so we made a few stops along the way. Well, one of the stops was the Oklahoma basketball game. Once we were in Norman, so there was this one shopping center. We stopped at this shopping center, let's say, had everything.
We're just not used to that here in New York.
Yeah, no, we're not used to it. It literally had everything.
Yes.
So we found this card store, and we were driving all the way around.
Card store. To explain.
Basketball.
We're not talking about like a Hallmark store. we were looking for a sports card store, and we had found a few, but the one we were going to go to on Sunday, we realized was closed, so we were looking for others on Saturday, and we found one where?
So we found one in the shopping center, and we're like, where is this? We're driving all the way around. And I said, what's it next to? He said, the supermarket. I said, it's not next to the supermarket. I said, I think it's in the supermarket. Like, no. And then you see, oh, and then you click on it, like, it's pointing in the supermarket. So we go in the supermarket, and there it is. And it was actually pretty cool. It was inside, which I thought was neat.
Yeah, so as soon as you walked into this, it's called Craft Supermarkets, and it was right there. It used to be a beauty salon, they said, that went out during COVID, and it's a card store, but they didn't have all of their just look through the boxes cards, just some other cards that were out, because there was a big card show in Dallas, but we had just left, but we didn't know there was a card show there, but we probably wouldn't have stayed there anyway to go to the show. But we had stopped at Buc-ee's before that.
Oh, right, yes.
And if people don't know what Buc-ee's is, BUC-EE''S is Buc-ee's. And I believe they're just in Texas. We're used to
really cool.
like a Wawa with a few gas pumps.
There were like 112 gas pumps.
There's 122 gas pumps with a car wash and a 55,000 square foot store inside, which is like a Wawa to the right, and then they make barbecue and fudge, and then it's basically like a Home Goods to the left. It's 55,000 square feet. And when I tell you, I know this is going to sound crazy when I say that this one was in Denton, Texas, where the University of North Texas is. And I've been there before. I'd eaten lunch there before. If you're in Texas, I'm telling you, find my closest Buc-ee's. Because
cool.
I promise you've never seen anything like it.
It was really cool.
It was unbelievable. And it smells great.
Yes, it does.
It smells great in there.
I never knew there were so many types of fudge.
And beef jerky.
Yeah.
Types of fudge, beef jerky.
There's like 6 wallets of beef jerky.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
It was pretty awesome.
So you want to say what we got?
Time
it.
Or we got the Rocky Road fudge.
We got Rocky Road fudge, which I recommend you try. It's really good.
That was good. We tried the banana bread fudge, which we never had before. Some candied pecans. Oh, and I brought back a bag of, what was it?
It was caramel,
peanut butter,
cinnamon popcorn.
Can't wait to try that.
Yeah.
No, try it after dinner. Tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, tomorrow.
And so when we went through Norman, saw campus a little bit, and it was just freezing. It got freezing cold.
And Dallas, it was like 60. It was in the 60s. It was maybe like 18 there.
Something I'm also not used to is driving on 35. The speed limit was 75 miles an hour, and then it was windy, and I'm not just used to just driving that fast for that long of a period of time. So that was different.
Yeah.
But we had some great tunes in the car. You would always ask, so who is this? Who is this? Who is this? And so it was a mix between Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, Meghan Trainor, who else?
Chappell Roan.
Rosé.
Yeah,
was one song.
Bruno Mars. I think it's Bruno Mars. That song.
Yeah. Because we were listening to Sirius, so they would have the pop hits on. Yeah, and then some 90s work. You heard the Fugees, I think, for the first time. Lauryn Hill. That Torn song that you said you liked, Natalie Imbruglia.
Oh, that's.
I'm not going to sing it, but yeah, you know what
I'm
talking about. And then when we got to Oklahoma City, had a nice dinner, the two of us.
Yeah,
and
it was really good food.
In a place called Black Walnut. And then the next morning, we were going to plan on, we had to do a bunch of stuff before the Eagles game, because the Eagles played at 2 Central. So I wanted you to hear about the story beforehand and then go see the National Memorial there from the Oklahoma City bombing. They killed 168 people, 19 kids, and that was April 19th of 1995, so we're almost up on the 30th anniversary. It was the largest act of domestic terrorism in the history of the United States. And then we went to a card store, the sports card store.
This was the coolest card store I've ever been.
And we've done an episode about your first sports card show.
Yeah.
this store, I'd say, was, I don't know, maybe 600 square feet, maybe. And just cards, in all of these different boxes. So we just sat down.
The tables, there were so many, like the tables were almost breaking. Like, it was so heavy.
I'd never seen anything like it.
It was so cool.
Yeah. It was like mine and 8 of my friends' card collections just got shipped there from when we were kids, and it was just cards. So we were in there for almost 2 hours looking through cards.
Like, how would you compare that to any other card stores you've been to?
I hadn't been anything like that before. I do wish they had a few little tables where you could put the cards on top instead of having to pull out cards, put on your lap. So usually this place just had stacks and like hundreds of boxes all over, plus some starting lineup figures, and I just never seen the sheer amount of cards in one place like that.
Yeah.
Basketball, football, hockey, baseball. We looked mostly basketball and found some players that.
Yeah.
Bunch of Mo Bambas, of course, and a bunch of Tyrese Maxey. You look Mutombo, and some other players that I've worked with. So we got their cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. What did you enjoy most about it?
It was just such a cool experience. And I loved looking through the cards with you, and you pointed out some people, told me a little bit about them.
Mm-hmm.
You told me you saw some of your favorite players as a kid. You told me about that.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember the one we got? It was my favorite as a kid. One of my favorites, along with Charles Barkley. Scott. Number 1 on the Sixers, Scott Brooks.
Brooks, yes.
Because then he went on to be the Thunder head coach. And Scott Brooks was this 5'7" guy from UC Irvine, undrafted. And I thought, well, if he can play in the NBA, I could play in the NBA when I was a kid. And then I told him years later, when I saw him when he was coaching the Thunder, or maybe he was coaching Washington at the time. But either way, and he got a good laugh out of that. Yeah. Yeah, Scott Brooks, that old NBA hoops card. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
awesome. I know you've been to Dallas a bunch of times before, but have you ever been to Oklahoma City?
Yeah, I'd been there once before. The 2012 NBA Finals for Thunder Heat. That was LeBron, Wade, Bosh. That was their first Finals title.
And it was Harden, Durant,
and Westbrook. Yes, Harden was the 6th man of that team. But what's so cool, I think, about Oklahoma City is, and then we can talk about that experience too, was it's a one pro sport town. So everybody is a Thunder fan. And
it's not like in New York, there's football, there's hockey, basketball.
Yeah, and there are a lot of tourists in Madison Square Garden.
There's not that many tourists.
We saw them play the Nets.
Oklahoma City.
We saw them play the Nets.
There were no Nets fans.
The Nets stink. And it was still sold out. Best team in the league, sold out. Everyone is cheering. Everyone was so.
It was an awesome environment.
Yeah, it was great.
And it was so cool. It was just all the fans. Let's say Madison Square Garden. It's usually divided. You hear cheers for the other team. You hear cheers for the Knicks.
Depending on what team it is, yes.
Well, yes, depending on what team it is.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you heard only cheers for the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, and the Knicks...
It was just very... Everyone was rooting for the same people, and the crowd got wild. It was awesome.
Yeah, and even like at the Garden, it's an experience to go to the Garden.
Well,
so some people will go who might not be basketball fans, and
the Garden is the Garden.
And it is exciting when the Knicks are good in playoffs. It's exciting, but not every game feels the same. In OKC, on a Sunday, 6 o'clock against one of the worst teams in basketball, that place was jumping.
Yes.
Yeah, and it felt like everyone was in it together. It was an electric atmosphere there.
Also, if you're ever there, you have to get the fries at the arena.
Yeah, what was that called? Freddy's?
Freddy's. Get their fries. They're really
Thin
good.
fries. And you also had a really good
I didn't
Caesar
get
salad.
Caesar salad. It was pretty good.
You don't get that very often in an arena.
It was good arena food.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And then I even liked, aside from all the basketball stuff and spending time together at the arenas, just hanging out, laying on the hotel room bed, watching TV.
Yeah.
Was fun. Those types of memories that I have with I used to go away with Grandpa Sonny every now and then. And those types of memories are memories that I will hold on to forever. Like, I'll always be able to look back and think about that time. No matter what the other experiences are, I'll always be able to think back to this trip.
Yeah.
Just the two of us.
Me too.
And it was, and every time you said, thanks, Dad, like, this is awesome, it just, it feels great, because I could tell, I could tell how much you enjoyed it, and how much and just how much the experience meant to both of us.
Awesome. It was awesome.
It was awesome. Okay. Well, anything else you want to add?
What should I add?
Anything else?
Shay came back.
Oh, right.
So I did get to see him play. They lost against Dallas, but they won against the Nets.
Of course.
But yeah. But it was great to see him play.
It was.
So.
Yeah, it was. Any other moments from the trip that weren't the big moments, like at the game or anything else that you're like, oh yeah, this moment, or anything like that?
It was nice sitting in the car, listening to music. We were just like there, we were just sitting, enjoying it, talking. Or in Rally House when we found the Thunder set of cards. That was really cool, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I loved it, and I love you.
Me too. I loved it. Love you.